So I just got done a few minutes ago watching this awesome, amazing, over-the-top interview with Khalil, with the young guy that travels around the world doing all the interviews with millionaires and billionaires, and it was on Instagram or Facebook, one of the two. As I'm scrolling along, I'm like, "Who's this guy?" And then I see he interviews you outside of your green Jeep there in Austin. And I just wanted to leave a quick message. My name is Brett Figueroa here from beautiful Colorado. I just want to say, dude, that was a fantastic interview. Like, short, sweet, right to the point, but man, it was just hard hitting. Just speak life into people and get right with God, and like your history of drugs, and being a felony and going to jail, and like just so much stuff. And so I was just like, I was blown away. I was just like, wow, what a great, great story. So then I left out of that, and I started doing some research, and like, who is this guy? What a fantastic story. And then I started reading about Malibu, and I used to live in Encino, and I used to hang out in Malibu, and I'd go to the movie colony. I was all over Pepperdine, and I would spent so much of my young years out there scrapping and struggling, and just like, how the am I going to make it? I'm young. I'm like 23, 24, 25 years old, living out there in Southern California. And just so there were just so many different things that you talked about that I was able to really resonate with. Just very powerful. And as I'm reading along, as through the interview, as well as I was reading, just some different things on your background and things of that nature. I said he really resonates. He has this vibe and this energy of Tony Robbins. And wouldn't you know, boom, as I'm reading it, it's listening to these audio tapes by Tony Robbins, motivational speaker Tony Robbins. And I was like, oh man, I knew it. I for whatever reason, I picked that up as I was just thinking about, okay, where's this guy? How did he go from living under a bridge and shooting up OxyContin, and being a felon, and just selling weed, and like so many different things. It was so awesome. And so when I got to the Tony Robbins part, I was like, okay, well, I need to leave this dude a quick video. I used to work with Tony Robbins. I was one of the biggest Tony Robbins fans back in the early 90s. Personal power was my thing. I remember back in like 1986, 87, sitting on the couch in Sacramento, California. I was just a young dude, and smoking weed, sitting on the couch, watching this big giant dude on television, living in castles, and like, working with icons and movie stars and professional athletes. Fran Tarkenton back in the day, that particular infomercial. It was just so many amazing things. And so at an event, I worked with Robbins. 1995, I showed up to Tony's office with no job, no money, no car. Like, I had nothing. I was just like the loser of losers. It was like just figuring out my life. But I'd listened to Personal Power. I knew it was about making a contribution, making a difference, making an impact. I just wasn't sure how to do that. And somebody said, well, Tony Robbins can probably help you. And, I'm literal, like, take it literal. And I go to the office at the front desk, and I'm like, hi, I'm here to see Tony Robbins. Somebody said he could probably help me. And the lady's like, what? You're what? You're here for who? What? Tony it doesn't work that way. And so I asked to have a seat in the lobby area, and a couple minutes later, I heard Tony's voice, and he was heading to the elevator with several of his associates. And so I walked him out to his car, and next thing you know, I went to work with him, and trained over 3,000 companies, became his number one highest income earners, number one top sales trainer, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been quite the journey. And so after I saw the connection between, your inspiration, your power, your breaking through, your getting out from underneath, and your connection to God, like, it was just really, really powerful. Take care of your mother. Like, there was just, again, so many awesome things. So I immediately got on the phone, started doing some research. How do I find this guy? And I called your Austin office. And Mia answered the phone. She was unbelievably fantastic. Like, she was so amazing. There was all this background noise that was going on. It was hard for us to kind of hear each other, but she was super patient. She was super amazing. In any event, so got your email address, and at first I was like, well, maybe I'll just draft him a quick little letter, and I'm better with just getting on video and throwing it out there, and seeing what comes back. But my number is 720 672 5783. 720-672-5783. We'd love to hear from you at some point. That'd be awesome. You seem like such just a down, just a dude that has, been through the trenches, been through the struggles, been through the setbacks, been through, the frustrations, the disappointments, and all those different things of nature. And That's always been my guy. My guy's always been that dude that breaks through, makes it to a whole nother level, and then gives the credit to God because that's the one that deserves every ounce of credit. And for you as a Christian, for me as a Christian, we know that if it wasn't for God, we would not be alive. We'd be dead somewhere in some part of life along the journey. But God said we have a mission, we have a purpose, and so it's exciting to be here to be able to share that. So again, the name is Brett Figueroa, calling here from beautiful Colorado, 720-672-5783. This message is going out to Khalil. I hope I'm not massacring that name, but that's the best we got. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for the great inspiration, just the great words, and what comes out of that. And now we get to go give that to someone else. Have yourself an awesome day, bro. I'll talk to you soon. 720-672-5783. Thanks again. Bye.